Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. My email is still tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we're discussing a 2017 late year launch for the 2018 model year. This is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 25th Anniversary Edition. Now, this is reference 26237, but it is a very true tribute to the original 25721. So this is a watch 42 millimeters in stainless steel that recalls the original Emmanuel Guet designed 1993 Royal Oak Offshore. So it's 42 millimeters in diameter by 14.3 millimeters thick, lug to lug if we're just measuring the case, 53.9 millimeters, and then we measure these little plots, the outboard intermediate links. Total distance across the wrist is 58 millimeters. Throwing it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, the watch wears comfortably enough that I could say if your wrist is my size, you can wear it. But if your wrist is any smaller, you're either going to want to put this on a rubber diver style strap from AP or seek a smaller Royal Oak. Now, it does wear larger than its rated size. Every Royal Oak and Offshore does. So this is a 42. Think of it as a 44 or even a 45 conventional round watch because that is how it wears. Taking a look at the downward cant of the lugs, that's just about the only thing the watch does to work with you if you have a smaller wrist. The angling of the lugs makes it possible for me to wear this watch, again, 16 centimeters circumference or up. It's not hugely thick, but it's also not particularly thin, and it has a very tall and sheer case flank, so it's probably not going to fit underneath most cuffs, although sports jackets should be okay. We'll take a quick look at the bracelet. The integration of bracelet is what sets this apart from the equally vintage Royal Oak 25770. Now, that had a strap. This retains the integration of Gerald Genta's original Royal Oak. So while most 90s Royal Oaks did have a strap, this bracelet look preserves not just the look of the Genta original, or at least the integration of the pieces, but also a lot of the fine finish that you get on those full bracelet Royal Oaks. You don't finish a rubber strap like this. The combination of beveling, satination, you can see that there's longitudinal across the top, vertical in profile, polished bevels, and then you look at the wells in between the links, including on the bottom to avoid pinching skin or pulling hair, and you appreciate just how difficult it is to finish. These bracelets take hours to finish, and to get a Royal Oak or an Offshore without the bracelet, you are going to do without some of the hand craftsmanship that makes these watches special, as well as some of their essential aesthetic. Now, the bracelet tapers down nicely toward the clasp. You can see it's fixed to the case using screws and bars, which is a very secure way of doing things, far more secure than spring bars. Removable links, there are several, are fixed in place using screws. We have a double folding clasp with both satination and media blast internally. It's a sequential close, so one side before the other, and then you must press both triggers to open it, so it's quite secure. Just as the bracelet is hand finished, so is the case, and to an even greater degree of intricacy. You can see these expanding bevels out over the lug hoods, the micro beveling along the edges of the crown guards. We have these little polymer caps to the chronograph pushers, the shoulder to the crown. You can see that shoulder is hexagonal, just like the bolts in the bezel of a Royal Oak or an Offshore. Now, the Offshore has a much larger bezel gasket that's expressed to a greater degree as part of the style. It's visible as a hairline piece of rubber on a Royal Oak, but on an Offshore, it's part of the utilitarian aesthetic of the case. Now, we have bolts here in steel. On a conventional Royal Oak, they're gold, but here these are stainless steel, and you can see that they're slightly inset. So this should always be how a Royal Oak looks. There should be a little bit of a countersink to the bolt. It should never be flush or proud of the bezel. The satination from top to bottom, you can see 1, 2, 3 different finishes on the bezel, which is a rounded octagon. The original one from 1972 was inspired by a vintage diving helmet. It does have a screw-down crown. It is 100 meters water resistant. Like the original, it has a solid case back, although the very first 100 Royal Oak Offshores would not have said Offshore. This does have a solid case back, which makes it a little bit thinner than a display case back, but it's still the manufacturer movement, or at least the manufacturer base with a Dubois de Praz module. The dial is very much like the original, only it's luminova instead of tritium, and it is the Petite Tapisserie. It is a dial that is cut on a rose lathe or I should say, not so much a rose lathe, but a pantograph lathe. The pantograph is a mimicry engine from the 19th century that takes a large template with these essential designs and then transcribes it onto a brass blank, which is what becomes this dial. Now, the pantograph method is slow and artisanal, and that's why you don't see it on the modern offshores. This is an old school pantograph dial, but the more modern offshores that are designed to look contemporary use the mega tapisserie. This is the Petite. The Petite is pantograph cut, so is the Grand on a standard Royal Oak. So this is pantograph cut, whereas a conventional modern offshore would just have a stamped mega. Now you can also see we have white gold indices, the blob style indices of the original watches, plus the baton hands, polished chapter rings. We have an inset and sunken date because the base movement sits under the chronograph module, and the base movement mounts the date. So you're actually staring down past the chronograph module to the date. The watch has a vertical clutch Dubois de Praz chronograph module. So with the vertical clutch, the engagement is seamless. There's no stagger or jump when you engage the chronograph. It's a very seamless system. We have a stop seconds function, hacking seconds. Then we also have a quick set for the date, which you can use to rapidly cycle the date should the watch encounter an irregular length month. You can see that the watch includes plenty of luminescence, no shortage. Again, the original from 1993 would have had tritium, but this is a luminova dial. And you'll appreciate that there is a tachymeter scale. If you're a motorsports fan or trackside, you can use this to gauge the speed of a car over a kilometer. Flipping it over, you cannot see the movement, but it's an AP base. This is called the 3126 with a 3840 chronograph module. We talked about the chronograph. Let's talk about the base. Bidirectional automatic winding with ceramic bearings. It's a 50 to 55 hour power reserve, a 3 hertz beat rate. The total joule count, module and base, is 59 with over 360 parts. It is a movement that has a relatively thick profile, so it's fairly durable. It was designed for use with sports watches, and to that end, it has a free-sprung Gyromax style balance with a full balance bridge. And the base is a combination of hand finish and mechanical finish befitting the price point of the watch. And again, screw down crown, 100 meters, water resistant, exquisitely hand finished inside and out. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.